Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition and what is the lesson that comes from the new Masters of the Universe Revelation, the show that carries forward the HeMan Masters of the Universe legacy from the 80s Saturday morning cartoon. All right, there's a huge lesson here. So right now, in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, there's a slavering beast that is growling at the top of the hill, and it's going to come down the hill for D&D. What is that slavering beast? It's post-alignment Dungeons and Dragons, right? So it'll be snapping off alignment from Dungeons and Dragons permanently. What else is going to go with it, right? Our iconic human dwarf elf, is that going to go along with it? Is the cleric going to go along with it? Is the paladin going to go along with it? Is allowing anyone who is a faith-based hero to be scrubbed from the game, right? Protection from good, protection from evil, right? All these things clearly, right? And there's a strong group of people who desperately want post-alignment Dungeons and Dragons. And so there is a bloodless battle of concept, battle of ideas, battle of who owns Dungeons and Dragons at the concept level, right? And right now, people are trying to convince or unconvince the design team, and the design team is listening, right? We just realized this with Strixhaven. They brought a bunch of subclasses. The community said we do not want, and they said we're going to take it out. We listen to you. We're not ignoring what you guys are saying. So really, really fascinating, right? So post-alignment D&D is coming in, right? And one of the things about post-alignment is one of its undergirding infrastructure supports is the idea that, hey, what if Dungeons and Dragons was designed by people who don't love Dungeons and Dragons and don't understand it, right? And we're like, well, that seems like a bad idea, right? And they're like, well, hey, Hollywood's been making some amazing films for a long time, and they don't understand or love their source material. And everybody's like, well, what about Kevin Feige? Isn't he like the one dude in the world who loves and understands the source material? And didn't that like create a level of success that's never been seen anywhere in the world at any point in time? And they're like, well, yeah, that's true, but there's a lot of movies, where with Hollywood people who do not understand the source material and do not love the source material, and some of those movies have made billions and billions of dollars, right? And you're like, okay, I guess, right? It sounds like a bad idea to me, but what's happening right now with Masters of the Universe Revelation is truly incredible. So I've watched the show. Wow, I was just like, okay, so what is happening here is in real time, Dungeons and Dragons gets an experiment done for it, right? What's the experiment? Well, the experiment is, wait, we already have opened the discussion. What if Dungeons and Dragons was created by people who don't love and don't understand Dungeons and Dragons? Still might work out okay, right? Look at all those Hollywood examples, right? And you're like, that makes me a little bit nervous. What Masters of the Universe Revelation is they're like, what if you make a show and the person who's in control and in charge of the show has just utter disdain for the source material, right? Like just really passionate contempt, right? Not a lack of understanding and a lack of love, but like just pure utter disdain, like burning contempt, right? Now, why would I say that Kevin Smith, who created Masters of the Universe Revelation, have a burning contempt for He-Man, the source material, right? Well, here's why. I heard a lot of stuff online, and I'm like, I'm just going to sweep away all those negative comments. I'm just going to give this show the best shot it can do. I'm going to clear my mind and say, Kevin Smith, wow me. Oh my gosh, I put this show on, I was like, it's 10 times worse than anything I heard on the internet, right? I was like, okay, what's happening here, right? So we're in so the show starts, by the way, spoilers for Masters of the Universe Revelation. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, what's happening? Please, what is happening, right? He-Man comes on the screen in the first 5 minutes, and He-Man is epic and awesome, right? And then they're like, ha 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 ha, you see that cool shot of He-Man there? That ain't He-Man, that's a robot. Now we're going to burn the flesh off his face and chop his arms off. And you're like, oh, that was a little strange. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's not He-Man. We're going to see He-Man be cool in a couple minutes here. And then a little bit later, they show us Adam. And they're like, here's Adam. By the way, Adam turns into He-Man when he says, by the power of Grayskull, and holds up the sword, right? So I'm like, oh, here's Adam. Okay, everything's going to work out now. This is fine. So Adam's king father says, Adam, I'm ashamed of you as a father. You're a terrible son, and you disappoint me. And you're like, wait, what? This is in the first 15 minutes? Like, we're at the 15-minute mark of show 1, and it's important that Adam's father says you suck to Adam, like, right out of the gate, right? And I'm like, what's happening here, right? So then, then at that point, oh boy. So here's what happens next. So then the sorceress gets in trouble, and He-Man goes off to save the sorceress, right? In minute 20 of episode 1, He-Man is killed. He-Man is killed. In episode 1, 20 minutes in, He-Man is killed, right? And guess what? He-Man's strongest enemy, Skeletor, is killed with him, right? You're like, wait, what? Did He-Man and Skeletor just die 20 minutes into the new He-Man show? And they're like, yes, he did. We're like, and I was like, how are we going to have the He-Man show, right? Like, they're like, don't worry, He-Man will be in here, right? So for every single episode that comes up left, He-Man is in every show, right? For 5 minutes. He's in 5 minutes of every existing show. And every time He-Man is on the screen, he is a memory, he is a robot, or he is a dream. That's it, right? So basically, Kevin Smith was like, "You're making a He-Man show, huh? Yeah, I need work, sure. I love He-Man, right? Like he's on record saying he loves He-Man, right? But like, it's very clear, right? If you just watch the show, it's very clear. Kevin Smith was like, we better get He-Man out of this He-Man show. Like, he needs to not exist alive on the screen for more than 10 minutes in the first episode. We'll give him 10 minutes in the first episode, and then he'll be in 0 minutes at any other point in the screen. And if you dare put He-Man in the show, he better be a memory, he better be a dream, or he better be a fake, right? So there's 10 minutes of He-Man in the new He-Man show. Holy cows, right? Like, so what Masters of the Universe Revelation is it's an experiment being run in real time for Dungeons and Dragons, in my opinion. And Hollywood saying, hey, we know the whole world, follows our model because we make billions of dollars and we have incredible influence all over the world. Celebrity is the most powerful force in the world right now, right? You get anything done with celebrity. You get, and it's more far. And I'll tell you right now, if you ain't caught this fact, celebrity is way more powerful than money, right? You could see that because Elon Musk got lots of money, but he's going over to S&M to get celebrity, right? Because that's the real juice today, right? So, like, it is astounding. I couldn't believe, like, so basically what they're saying is Hollywood's like, hey, we're getting bored with this, like, serving you up directors who don't understand or don't love the content. What if we gave you directors who had burning contempt, utter disdain for the source material, right? The main thing, what if they just had utter disdain and a passionate contempt for it? What kind of content and art could they make, right? And you're like, well, I think it'd be really bad. It'd be really, really bad, right? Like, and they're like, nah, it's fine, right? Now, here's where it gets tricky, right? I'm part of the problem. I watched every episode of this thing because I was so shocked. I couldn't look away. I was like, is this really a show created by a creator who has complete and utter disdain for the content? Like, Kevin Smith made a He-Man show where it is shockingly obvious he has utter disdain for He-Man, right? Utter, like, a burning, passionate contempt for He-Man. No two ways about it. Like, it's clear as day if you watch this show that Kevin Smith has utter disdain for He-Man, right? So this is coming, right? Like, this is coming for us, right? And they're going to say, hey, what if the design lead for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, in order to fully put the hammer down and make the car go fast on this post-alignment D&D, what if the design lead had a burning, passionate contempt for Dungeons & Dragons? Might work, right? I'd love to say it ain't going to work, but I watched every minute of Masters of the Universe Revelation, right? Like, so the metric is that I loved it, even though I did not love it. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to claw my eyeballs out of my skull, right? This is really, really, really bad, right? And so, like, I was just like, this is shockingly bad, right? And so it is truly a very, very frightening space we're in, right? Post-alignment D&D is coming, right? They're gonna, the question now is, will the design lead for Dungeons & Dragons 6th edition it seems like we will be lucky to get a design lead that does not understand and does not love Dungeons & Dragons. What really might be coming for it is a design lead who has a burning contempt for Dungeons & Dragons. It's quite possible. And I wish I could say, I'm going to hold the line. But I can't say that because I watched every minute of Masters of the Universe Revelation. And I watched all of the crunks and the sparks and the fire of the train wreck. Right? I just like, wow. Look at the bodies just flying out of the, onto the ground. Is that person bleeding and crying? Is that person on fire? And at the same time, like, what's happening? Or, you're just like, oh, like, it is the train wreck you cannot look away from, and or I cannot. I think so. I already know. I know some of you are really good at just looking away from the cataclysm. I can't. Like, I'm just like, if you make a new HeMan show, I'm gonna watch the new HeMan show. It's just the way it is. I'm just not gonna. I don't have it in me to be like, nah, I ain't watching that new HeMan show, right? Like, I just can't, right? Like, oh boy. So here's the thing. The nice thing is, what happens with Dungeons and Dragons at this point, right? Well, I think it could be very well tied to what happens with this Masters of the Universe. If Masters of the Universe gets a season 2, a season 3, and becomes a hit on Netflix, it's going to be very hard not to get a D&D design lead who has a burning contempt for Dungeons and Dragons, right? Because without a doubt, the Dungeons and Dragons design team is 100% Hollywood model. It is 100% Hollywood model. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.